with the servant. I gotta go to my channel here. I have to figure out how to do this now. Do 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 do. Oh, there it is, right there. Boom, boom, biggity boom. All right, I'm done being stupid. So anyway, how are you guys doing today? Please, if anybody enters the chat, please, you know, no, no, I want the chat. Yeah, please put something in the chat when you get here. That way I know that when you guys get here, and you can tell me about the sound if you guys can hear the sound, because I want to make sure that the sound is good so that everybody can hear it. See, I wonder, like, you know, how long it normally takes other people to have their notifications go out, and then they when do people actually get them? Is that why there's a 2 minute countdown to a lot of channels where I'll go to see the video, and there'll be like a 2 minute countdown backwards of the chat, right? And I wonder if it's like that because it takes 2 minutes for people to get here. AJ, I know I could count on you. Thank you for coming. I'm really happy. I had a uh kind of I tried to do like a late night show last night, and it was going pretty good. I think I touched on some good topics, but it seemed like when I was like touching on good topics, it was like fading in and out, like the actual connection or whatever was like not very good. And then also I didn't have anybody in chat. I think Rasta had showed up for like a minute, and then Michelle XX. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she does the transvestigations and stuff. She's very good. It's a very good channel. She also has Michelle W. But yeah, she stopped by for a little bit, and so like when there's one other person in the chat, like you right now, it's easy for me to talk, right? Because I'm talking to you, right? I'm thinking of myself and at least one other person. But when I'm just talking by myself, mumbling, like sometimes I'll go on a good tangent. Sometimes really happy to be on this morning. I think the mornings is when I have the most energy to do this, and that's how I've been kind of like judging what's my purpose, right? What is my job to do for God, right? And I used to think for a while that it was like reading and interpreting the Bible, maybe, this is some early on thoughts that I had before I started the channel with Tom about a year ago. And I just don't have that energy, that call to do that, right? I feel like there are other people more qualified than me to do that, right? But what I do have energy for and a passion for is digging and researching and every detail of these different truth topics that are against the mainstream, right? Like flat Earth, like I didn't just accept that after a few videos, and a couple of demonstrations, right? Even though I could have, right? I kind of knew at that point, right? But I'm the type of person that has to check every angle, I'm like, well, what are things that everybody can do, that, like bouncing radio waves off the moon, like things like that, right? Like I really dug in deep with all of the detail of it, right? And I'm like, well, if I have the time to dig in all these topics, in detail, right? Including transvestigation, including the lies on the news, including fake events, including health topics, right? Right. If I have the energy, right, to dig in and understand some of these things, like I'm not a genius, right? But like there, I understand most things without having to take like a mental leap, right? Which is, you don't want anyone taking a lot of mental leaps and then trying to tell you what the truth is, right? Well, so I figure, okay, well, I have this energy to do this, right? And I have a pretty good, like, reputation, like with the the truth community that I'm in, right? As far as being somebody that's truthful, being somebody that I don't pick on people, I don't say anything off-putting, right? Like my natural authentic behavior is just to be like, real neutral and nice, not in the sense that I'll accept things that are against God or just complete buffoonery, right? But I'm pretty neutral even to people that are like still exploring how they feel about God, right? And so I figure God put me in a space, right, where okay, well, I know these truth topics, I understand them a little bit, and maybe my job is to just kind of relay that to people, and people can tell if you're being genuine or not. And when people come here to talk about flat Earth, it's just it is what it is, right? It's not a debate. It's not a topic up for debate. It's in fact when people say that the Earth is not flat, they kind of lose credibility with me a little bit, unless they just don't know. Then it's like, okay, that's one of my filters, right? Well, this is what God did for us when He opened up our eyes, right? Not everybody's ready for the truth. Not everybody's ready for like a total paradigm. Most people, right? Like we're at the point where our worldview, right, is so much different than other people at this point, right? That not a lot of people are willing to do that, right? So now we do have flat Earth, we do have the transvestigations, we do have the phony stuff on the news, right? And all these things are filters, right, for us to know if someone's telling us the truth. Well, if they're talking about the Bible, then they start talking about NASA. Well, that's not a real place I need to get information from. Or if they are giving me information about God in the Bible, and then they want to talk about like ongoing events in the mainstream as if they're real, then that person is not. They don't meet the test, right? Like there's a filter in between. Hey, Alex D, yeah, Alex D in the house, man, my main man, and so yeah, like these truth topics, right, put a filter between me and the person trying to give me information, right? I don't just take information from anybody. I'll look at it, maybe I'll share it with a couple people that I trust, get their opinion on it, that kind of thing, right? But I think that's what this community does, right? Is that we can really we could really filter the truth, you know, in between each other, and we have all these different truths that are filters for who we listen to and who we don't listen to. And really, I mean, and to be fair, right, there isn't one person you can go to and say, okay, I trust this person, he's telling me all the truth, right? Like there's very few people like that, if any, right? And it's important to know that even though we want to be that person, right, we're not Jesus. We're not going to die perfect. I mean, we're going to have flaws, right? But I think that if we have the right worldview, right, we don't live on anything naturally created, right? Forget all that. That's out of the realm of possibilities. We live in a story, right? We live in a created narrative, a created, call it a movie, call it whatever you want to call it, right? God wrote this story, right? And we are living it out, right? Not only is everything around us created, right? There, nothing made of rock happened naturally. Nothing made of wood happened naturally. The trees didn't happen naturally, right? They were all created. They were all created before they were even grown. They had a whole life, right? And not only is all that created, but we're created too, right? Uh, not just us and our bodies, our physical bodies, right? But our character too, our soul, our spirit, right? Not that not that we don't have free will. We do, right? We do have free will. But just because God knows what card we're going to pick, right, doesn't mean that we're not picking the card, right? A friend of mine told me that, and it made sense to me, right? Because God knows everything. I mean, you can't add information to God. God's not like waiting to see what happens, right? He already knows. It's done, right? He created the beginning from the end. And even if it wasn't over, he would still know what's going to happen, right? Because God has all the information that ever existed, that ever will exist. He's everything, right? And so we're in this story. We're all created. We're all people that were created for a reason. We do have a purpose, right? Right, right, exactly, Alex. Tom gave me that one. I mean, it was absolutely on the money, you know. And so um, we live in this story, right, where our character was picked to have a purpose, right, in the end times, right, because obviously we're getting all woken up, right. I don't think, hey, homeless in America, how you doing? And see, I don't think God intended for us to be awake and to live 40 more years, you know, like, and know that the world is like, you know, completely and totally falling apart, right. I don't think that that's you know, that's what's happening. I'm not gonna, you know, act like I'm thinking for God, but you know, if I was God and I woke up, you know, my people that I created, right, and they all knew that the world was backwards and messed up, right, you would want to give them time to, of course, read about it and find out, you know, where they're at in the Bible, right, and then you know, you'd come back to get them, you know, I mean, at some point, right, whether you guys believe in a pre-trib rapture or, you know, something during the tribulation or, you know, the day of the Lord, whenever he comes, right? And so I'm prepared for all of those things. Hey, JJ, man, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, it's just great to have everybody here, you know. And so, like, you know, our character, our purpose, our um, who we are inside was created to do what we're doing, right? We were created to take care of the kids that we were entrusted with. We were created to do the jobs that we've done in our lives, right? The careers that we've chosen, right? The you know, the money and remnants of that, you know, that comes after that, right? That's all planned out. God created everything from A to Z, everything in this reality. There's nothing that God is not in control of, right? And you know, oh, good morning, good morning. And so yeah, and you know, and I would just say that you know, um, this is what bothers me, right, about people in our families or our friends or whatever, is we go up to them, right, and we're trying to tell them nicely, hey, this is what's going on. You're lucky to have somebody in your family that has the time, right? You know, I wouldn't never go to somebody arrogant like that, but I mean, really, this is what it is, right? They're lucky to have us in their lives, right? Because we have the time to be looking at all this stuff and to study all this stuff. Maybe they don't have the time in their busy lives to do it, right? But we've somehow found time to do it. We have an energy to do it, right? And so we're just passing this stuff on, right? We're passing this stuff on to, you know, try to help them out, you know, try to help them, you know, choose the right path, you know. And this isn't the time to be lukewarm. This isn't the time to be halfway in the world and halfway into God, right? And I get it. Hey, look, there's people in my family that are doing well out there. They're successful. I wouldn't say they're rich, but they're doing well, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But here's the thing, right? Is your life about that, or is your life about God, right? And so when you say that God is a part of your life, that's the wrong answer right there, right? Like, yeah, our salvation is done, right? It's paid for by Jesus, right? But we still have a life to live, right? And um, you know, like if you are in the correct worldview and you know all the things that are true and not true in this world, right? Well, then you understand that all of this is about God. There is nothing in this world that's not about God, right? And I think that if we serve God fully, right, with complete abandon of what we, even our own responsibilities, right, that God will get us through life, you know. I really believe that. And I believe more than ever that that He's watching me. You know, every minute He's watching me. Everything I do, every thought that I have, if I'm going to sin or think about lust or think about, you know, hey, look, I'm not saying that you guys need to be hard on yourselves about any of this stuff. because look, the law has been fulfilled and all that, you know. Live your life the way you want, right? I'm not saying this stuff to brag. I'm saying this is because this is just what I want to do with my life. I don't want to do any of that stuff anymore, right? And it was easy for me to give it up. And I want to read the Bible. I'm excited about the Bible now, right? And it's not about, oh, well, I could read this many books or blah, 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 or read all the way through it or whatever, right? It's not about that. It's about, this is just what I like to do. And if you guys could benefit from that, then that's great, right? And if you can't, then that's great too. You know, I mean, take what you need and leave the rest. You know, eat the meat, leave the bones. You know, and trust me, I am by far, I don't have any kind of holy grail of information to give anybody. You know, maybe if you get a little tidbit here or there, or some cool little saying that might help you in your life, then that's great. That's all. That's all that you can ask for, right? Because I used to think, like, because I was so excited when I found out the Earth is flat, and I was so excited to find out that God was real, that I thought that when I ran up and told people, right, that I knew in my life, that they would be excited to hear it too. They'd be like, "Oh, what? No way! Show me how it works," and blah blah blah, right? Like, I thought that's the kind of reaction that I would get, because in my mind, I'm telling like the greatest information that could ever be, and so um, it's crazy that um, that people don't react that way. That they're like, no, no, don't be a conspiracy theorist and blah blah blah. Don't believe in this or that. It's not real. It's not, the news is giving us statistics and numbers and whatever. But what have you seen with your eyes? Just look around. What have you seen with your eyes? This is what's crazy, right? Like, I don't watch TV, right? And so to me, nothing ever lined up about this whole narrative that's going on out there. It doesn't exist to me, right? It's not real to me. I didn't see it at the hospital. I didn't see it here. I didn't see it on the streets. I didn't see it in my family. I didn't see it at all, And they're telling me that they're digging mass graves and there's bubbles around people's heads and all kind of stuff, right? And it's crazy. Yeah, the 7 years is, the Antichrist. The man of sin will reign for 7 years, and then the day of the Lord. Every day is 1,000 years, right? So you'll have the 1,000-year millennial reign after we die. It'll be 1,000 years on earth in the kingdom, and then after that will be the white throne judgment and the second death, and then we go on to a new heaven and new earth, But a lot of people think that there's a rapture, right, before that 7 year starts, And, but hey, look, there's a lot of people that argue this back and forth, and it's debatable how it all happens, right? But, I'm pretty sure about what I think, but I mean, I leave it open for people to have their own interpretation of it. The only important thing is we don't want to take out what's important, which is our salvation depends on our faith in Jesus, right? If you say that the rapture's already happened and the 1,000-year reign has begun, right? Well, then the only way we can get to heaven is to be a tribulation saint, And so I don't want to change salvation, So I'm pretty sure that I'm almost 100% sure that we are before the millennium reign and before the 7 years, right? Because you would need an antichrist and a mark of the beast would have to be like fully apparent, and we would have to know what it is, And it's right around the corner, I think, very, very right around the corner, right? If Yeah, hey, you could be right. I mean, Alex, like a lot of those things are left up to interpretation. A lot of people have been debating that stuff, right? Um, what I really want to push forward here is that our salvation depends on Jesus, right? So a lot of these things haven't happened yet, but and we can always discuss that. We can always discuss that stuff, And I think what's important is salvation, but also what's important is every truth, right? So if you guys have ideas, go ahead and put it out there. No one's going to ban you for saying something. I don't want to have an echo chamber here. I want to have people be able to say things when they disagree, right? That's why I give everybody a wrench, right? So nobody can get banned or hidden or whatever. What they say ends up on this screen. And so, it's important to me that you guys are able to speak your mind. But, it's getting crazier and crazier out there. And, I mean, we don't know when things are going to kick off. I think very soon. I mean, it says in Scripture that every man, rich and poor, free and bond, worldwide, will receive a mark in the skin and won't be able to buy or sell without it, won't be able to go in any stores or, maybe if you don't have your vaccine passport, you won't be able to buy anything, right? And maybe it is the next one, or, I don't know how they're going to do it, right? But I know that you have to know what you're giving up. And so it's not something they're going to trick you into, right? And so maybe but it also says that those who worship the beast would get a mark. And I know I'm not going to get it. I don't care what this thing is. I'm not going to get it. I don't get treatment unless I'm sick. And so I don't let anybody touch me with anything unless I need treatment, right? And so this could be anything, right? I mean, but the next thing, who knows, right? I do believe in freedom of speech, but I don't think that we don't have it. Like, like this is one thing that helps me is that I'm not monetized, right? If I'm monetized, then I'm in partnership with YouTube, and then they can kind of uh, monitor what I say a little bit more because of their marketing partners, right? But as long as I do this for free, right, which I do, then um, you know, I guess freedom of speech to an extent that where if I'm not too far off the narrative, I don't get a strike, right? And it's a shame that it's like that, but that's true. We have to kind of self-censor, you know. And right, no, exactly. They want us to think that the person that's coming now to save the world, right, is the Messiah, right? That's the trick. The beast is this leader that's going to come that everyone's going to fall in love with. He's going to save the world and stop all the crap that's happening out there and blah, 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 right? But in chapter 4, right, what's clear to me, whether there's a rapture or not, is that Christians disappear and we don't come back until chapter 20. So if we don't get raptured, right, then it's pretty obvious what happens. We go into quarantine for 10 days, right? And if we don't take the mark or the vaccine or whatever, then guillotine, right? I mean, that's what it feels like to me, right? And so, hey, look, if I I, I can agree to somebody who says that there's not going to be a pre-tribulation rapture, but what I can't do is say that Christians are going to be um, around after chapter 4 because we're not. We Chapter 4, you stop hearing about the church, right? And then we don't come back until we come back with Jesus to burn the earth. And so that's yeah, this Antichrist could be the Islamic savior, and well, everyone's looking for a Messiah, right? Islam is looking for their Messiah, right? The Jews are looking for their Messiah because they rejected Jesus, right? Um, there's a lot of people that think that there's a million paths that lead to God, and it's all going to lead to this man of sin, right? And this is gonna be a bad dude, man. And hey, look, if I have to die, if they offer, hey, take the mark or die, then that's not a hard choice for me. I mean, there's other things that I'm scared of more than death. I know that I'm gonna move on to something else, right? And see, and before I knew that God was real in my heart, right? Even when I just believed, and I was like, well, if they kill me and if I'm worm food, who cares, I'm going to be probably more comfortable out of this body anyway. And I know that that's kind of a weird attitude, right? But I was willing to take that chance even back then. And now, for sure, yeah, if they offer me death or give up my faith in Jesus, well, you could just come kill me right now. I mean, what are they waiting for? I'm willing to go if they want to send me there. And so it's all up to God at this point because I'm willing to die. I don't care. And I know that a lot of people have challenged me on that and said, no, what if, they say you can't have a job or you're going to lose your pension from the army and all that stuff. Man, I'll tell you what, I don't care. They can have it. If they say that I have to, inject something into my body in order to have something, well, then what are they going to ask me to do next? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And it's an easy decision, especially if they're offering me death I hate to make this some kind of depressing sounding thing. I'm not depressed. I, I know that to die is to gain. I know that I would be better off. And I know that we'd all be better off because, like, this is what's crazy is that, yeah, that's great that we've all met each other in this true community and we all talk to each other, right? And we were able to find each other because we're just sprinkled in the world. There's not too many of us in clumps. And so just to have you guys on the internet is fun, but once we're dead, and we move on, we're going to be able to hang out in the clouds or on the earth or however in our glorified body, and it's not going to hurt anymore. We're not going to be hungry. We're not going to have to crap. We're not, it's not going to hurt anymore. We're not going to be tired. I mean, it's going to be beautiful. And I just can't wait to meet the Lord. And I just can't wait to fall at His feet. And thank Him for everything that I would have to say the last 4 or 5 years of my life have been a joy to live, even though I feel like I've isolated a little bit, and I've gave up on a lot of things like dating and stuff like that because raising my kids and serving God is more important to me. But like I owe Him everything, because the last few years of my life, I'm not worried about like, oh, well, I'm this age and I'm going to die soon. I have this much time left. What have I achieved? And, what am I going to achieve? And how much time do I have? I don't think about those things anymore. You know, all I think about is, hey, I'm going to do my best to be happy. I'm going to do my best to show my kids how to take care of themselves and be self sufficient and be happy, right? Being happy is more important than anything they can earn or gain, right? Or achieve. Even though if they achieve things, I would be proud of them, sure, of course. And but the main thing is I got to get them right with God so that they can come with me to the kingdom of heaven. You know, and that's what's important, right? Because it's a very narrow road. It's a very very narrow road, and very few will find it. And I hate to say it, but we are sprinkled in. Uh, and it's yeah, we might be in families, right, where like one or two or three people are saved, and that's great. But usually, like, you know you don't usually find a couple of truthers together in one house. And if you do, or if you found a mate that is like you know um willing to be a truther with you, that's amazing. you know or a wife that's willing to serve the Lord with you. There's people right now that, like, if I knew that they could serve the Lord, I mean, women that I think are wonderful, like a wonderful women. I think if I knew for sure they wanted to serve the Lord and they would be a great co-host on here or whatever. I would have to figure out. Well, now that I'm getting paid, I can get what do you call it? StreamYard. And I'll be able to have Alex back on and Tom if he wants to. If they want to do it, or. That would be fun too. Have you guys up, hang out or whatever. And but I know Tony usually goes long, and a lot of guys hang out over there, and that's cool. I mean, this is kind of an alternative space where it's a little, a little safer, a little easier going, right? But it's the same spirit, right? That we're here for God, and some of us are good at exposing evil and going after it, right? And that's what we need to do and help each other do, right? Some of us are good at encouraging others. Some of us are good at uh, helping people have a release. Some of us are good at showing love to each other, because here's the thing: we're outcasts. As Christians, we're outcasts, and people are going to hate us. We're a group that people, they don't want us, right? A very, very small group, right? They hate us, right? And we're gonna have to love each other like we love ourselves. I'm going to have to love you the same way I would love me, right? If you're hurt, right, just like in the Good Samaritan, what Jesus was talking about, if you're hurt, you fall off your horse, right? I got to spend every penny that I have to make you feel better, because that's what I would do for myself, right? And see, I get it now. The things Jesus was talking about was to prepare us at this time, right? That there's going to be very, very few Christians, right? There's going to be a lot of Christians probably that are going to go with the beast and say, no, no, all the roads lead to one God. Like, we got to be inclusive. It's all about love, right? Right, right, Rasta, exactly. And at this time, right, we're going to be the outcast. We're going to be hated, right? And we already kind of are. And this is it, you know this is it. This is the moment of truth. This is where we find out, just what are we willing to do. Not only what are we willing to do for God, or what are we willing to do to expose evil, or what are we willing to do to encourage each other, or how far we're willing to go to get a brother to bring them over to this side, right? Because there's some people that I love out there that are full of demons, man. They're full of demons, man, and I love them, right? And I've had many a conversation with people where I've had to debate with people that I love and respect, right? Right? I want to tell them what they want to hear. I want to tell people what they want to hear because I want my friends to feel good, right? But I have to tell them the truth, right? Like, if you follow the truth narrative all the way, right, and don't exclude anything, even the stuff that's uncomfortable, right? Or maybe you've taken some blood oaths in your life that you think you can't get out of. Yes, you can. The thief on the cross set a precedence that up until your last breath, right, you can choose God, right? And the prodigal son, right, that set a precedence, right? That no matter how far you go out and piss away your inheritance, right? You know, and you come back, God will throw a bigger party, right? And make a bigger deal over that person that comes back after being gone and lost for all that time than he will about us that are already in line, you know? And I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with maybe our enemy that we don't like, that's out there lost, right, might come find God, and God's going to make a big deal about them, a bigger deal than us. And I'm okay with that because he forgave me, right? And everyone deserves forgiveness, right? And as soon as I started to feel that way, that I can forgive anybody that's ever done me wrong, right? And I want them to have the best that I have, right? I want them to have everything I want, right? That's when I started to feel better. That's when I started to feel better on earth, right? That I don't want people to suffer, right? I don't want to work things out to where I'm in control of the outcome of anything, right? I'm not trying to get somebody's affection and manipulate for it, right? I don't hate people and want them to get in trouble anymore, right? I want everyone to be forgiven and everyone to be loved. Hey, Hannah, I'm glad to see you. So glad you're here. Oh, that makes me happy. And we don't deserve forgiveness. You're absolutely right, Alex. You're absolutely right. We don't deserve God's grace, right? None of us deserve to go to heaven. And the only reason we qualify to go to heaven is because God, the perfect sacrifice, right, gave himself up. It took his own wrath upon himself, right? Right? That's what it costs for us to be in a grace period at this time, where only our belief and our faith will get us through, you know? And so I'm just so happy and so grateful to have. See, look, I'd rather this chat have, 10 people in it, right? That's in the 10 people that are in here that are super tight and lined up and right with the truth, right? Willing to even go against beliefs that we have, to be uncomfortable, right? To find out what's real in life, right? And and to be able to um, go through all these different, narratives that we've been through, the zeitgeist crap and the Jesus is the Son and all that stuff. I mean, we've been through all that, right? We followed that all the way out to where it was debunked. And so there's going to be people that are going to fall for that strong delusion, right? And so, yeah, it's all a trick, right? It's all a trick, right? To get people to give up on their salvation. It's just to trick you out of not believing in a real man that lived named Jesus Christ. It was God incarnate in the flesh, right? That died for your sins, right? The minute you think it's something else, right? And the minute you think that the scriptures, right, are different, right? Then that's when you lose, right, your ability to have what is coming to you, your inheritance. So what did you want? Show some scriptures about what? I don't know what you want scriptures for. What, that we're saved by faith by Jesus Christ and his sacrifice? There's scriptures all over the Bible. I would recommend you read Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18. Uh, Paul's, I'm paraphrasing here, and I hate to paraphrase because I can't get to my Bible right now. That, when he preaches the cross, right, those that are perishing will actually, I don't want to paraphrase. Could somebody put 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18? And, that would be great. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, exactly, yeah, it didn't fool me either, the zeitgeist stuff, right? Because I knew that, like, the whole reason they were giving out some truth, right, is to gatekeep for God. And that's the same thing what's happening with flat earth. You have a lot of flat earth people that aren't followers of Jesus, right? Because they're gatekeeping God, right? They want to give you another route to go, right? There's only two ways you can go if you're a truther. You're either a Satanist, right? Or you're a truther, which is a follower of Jesus Christ, or you're deceived. There's only, that's all you could be, you know? And good luck, and so yeah, for the preaching of the cross, right, is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved it is the power of God, right? And that's why the cross makes no sense to people that have no faith. Once you have faith in Jesus Christ, right, the faith comes first, right? You have faith. You listen to the word, right? Put on some audio Bible. Hearing the word will bring you faith. Reading the Bible will bring you faith. Sometimes I do both. I listen and read at the same time. And hearing the word of God will bring you faith. And once you have that faith and you understand what Jesus did at the cross, right? Which is he basically defeated the world. When we fell, we created a system, right, where we owe our lives, right, for sin, right? We have to pay. We had a debt to pay that we created, not God. We created that because we have free choice. God has respected our dignity to have choice, right? Because we're sentient creatures, right? He doesn't just give us one way to go. We're allowed to choose what we want to do, right? And he came down and was able to pay our debt, not let us off the hook to where he would be not holy anymore, right? He didn't let us off the hook and just change the rules, right? That would make him shady, right? Well, he has to stay holy and we have to be clean in order to exist with him. And he gave up everything he could give up, right? His own life. It's not like he asked us, hey, raise up a perfect human and get him to, he'll be the sacrifice and he'll be the hero, you know? He didn't leave it up to us to have a person for that. He did it himself. And that's just the most beautiful thing that I can just, that I could ever even imagine. And so if you want to go ahead and think that Jesus is the Son, right, the actual Son that comes every day, well, good luck with that. It's not true though. And, I really hope that you find it, um, you know, I really hope you find it. I don't know. Paula could look at what you're writing right there. She's studied the Bible in every language, and so maybe she could pick that apart for you. But it's just all that stuff that like they want us to lose our salvation. We have a free grace period right now to be saved, to go to a place that's perfect where we're going to be incorruptible. There's not going to be any sin, right? We don't have to have it there. It's going to be a wonderful place to go, right? To get you to believe, right, in something other than the gospel, right, is cheating you out of what you have coming to you. It's a grace period. You gain nothing by believing what you're believing right now. You gain nothing for it, right? The truth will set you free. The truth, only the truth. You can only profit from the truth. And that's Jesus Christ. And hey, look, some people just don't want it to be that. And if you want to look for reasons not to believe in Jesus, right? Well, then you're going to find a lot of people with a lot of money and a lot of motivation that want to discredit the Bible. I don't know why, but there is a ton of people that want to discredit the Bible. And some of it is compelling. And you're not dumb for falling for it, right? So a lot of people, a lot of very smart people fell for it. I mean, I can't say that I did, right? But I know some smart people that are now Christians that definitely did fall for it, and they're very smart people. So I'm not saying anything about your intelligence. What I'm saying is this, right? Is that you can save your life right now by going to Jesus and asking for forgiveness. And then you will have an inheritance coming to you as an adopted child of God, you know? And I can't think of anything else that's more beautiful than that, you know? And, yeah, a New Ager is basically a Satanist, Yeah. If anything that's not a Christian in this time where you can be a truther and scrutinize things because of the internet, if you're not a Christian, you're a Satanist. I mean, either that or you're deceived, there's no you're either the very elect, right? Or you're a deceiver, right? Or you're deceived, right? I mean, that's it, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a teacher, right? I don't teach the word, right? There's other people more qualified than me, and Paula is one of them over at Level Up. Go ahead and subscribe over there, right? And she's a truther, so uh, anybody that's willing to preach flat Earth, and you lose a lot of subscribers doing that, right? And so I have a lot of respect for her to preach the truth, because to be honest, because I know the truth, somebody preaching that spinning ball, right? They lose credibility with me, And so when you find somebody that's willing to tell the truth to the point where you lose subscribers, then it is what it is, right? And so go over there and learn. Do I like Dean Odell? I mean, I did there for a minute, I'm not really sure about him. I did see Rob Skiba, and they've done a lot of great work that I've enjoyed, I don't know them as pastors to know if I trust them or not as far as what they teach and everything. So I couldn't tell you on that. But I mean, as far as their flat earth stuff, they were pretty good at that, and I did enjoy their work, I did kind of like enjoy Rob Skiba's teaching about the Antichrist. It was interesting. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was interesting. Yeah, it seems like he's this gatekeeper. And see, the Hebrew roots thing is not good either, because as soon as you start living by the law, then you're really taking away what Jesus did on the cross. And so, no, I understand what you're saying, Soul Read Analytics. And hey, look, as much as we've been lied to in our lives, right? Um, it's hard to know what's true anymore. And I get it. You see all these narratives, right? That are weaved in with truth, right? And so there's nothing wrong with you. I want you to be in this chat, and I want you to know the truth, and I want you to go to the kingdom of God. You're not my enemy by a long stretch. And even if you were, I would pray for you to have everything that I want in life. You know, and so just know that you're welcome here, and that I'm not in your life by accident, right? I'm not here in this chat by accident. It's very hard to get here, you know? And for you to be able to make it all the way to this point, right? Um, is really something. And so welcome. I hope that um, you know, subscribe to everyone in this chat, and you know, try to learn, and trust me, if you say something interesting that I haven't seen already, right, I will look into it. I'm not one of those people that's so dug into my beliefs that I won't look into something, right? I did look into all that. I did. And in fact, when I was a kid, right, and once I learned about evolution and the spinning ball and all this stuff, right, the Bible was the first thing I threw out, because I thought the people that were teaching me stuff, were telling me the truth, right? I mean, the Bible was the first thing I threw out of my life. And in my mind, everything in the world had to be a lie in order for it to be true. And guess what? Everything in the world is a lie. And there's a verse in Romans, right? I think it's uh, let God's word be true and every man a liar, right? And that's exactly what it is. Every man is a liar. And if you don't know that those moon missions were Apollo missions, right? I mean, the name of the beast is Apollo in Revelation, right? I mean, the Washington Monument is the staff of Baal. It's a penis, right? I mean, they don't even hide what it is. There's only one definition for what it is. It's an obelisk, right? And so, this is a big middle finger to God. This thing out there. And the Statue of Liberty is, obviously that's a statue of Helios, right? And so you're looking at things that are like very anti-Christy in America, right? And if these things aren't sticking out to you, right, then it's looking bad. And hey, look, I like Skiba too, man. Look, hey, look, Skiba does tell some truth, a lot of truth, right? I mean, he really puts himself out there. But anybody with like Hollywood connections that can get a show like Seed or whatever, and you notice how the E's are kind of backwards like numbers, right? That's hey, it's a little suspect, right? You have to at least agree that that's a little suspect, right? And so, hey, look, there's a lot of people in the truth, movement that have taught me a lot, even about flat Earth, that I know that they're not Christians, that they're probably Satan, probably Satanists. And it is what it is. There's witches and warlocks and all this other crap, right? And hey, look, there's even some gender inversion going on, and hey, look, the longer you stay in the truth game, the more you'll see these little symbols and signs and them flashing their signs while they do their shows. I see it. I don't always say it, right? But, I see everybody that does everything, you know? And so I just want to say that I love you guys, man. And look, I'm not always right, okay? I'm going to admit that right now. I'm not always right, but I'm going to be real with you guys. You guys are going to know by the tone of my voice I'm being genuine with you. That I'm not trying to pull nothing over on anybody. I'm learning too. And I'm willing to throw away old ideas as soon as I learn something that's more true, you know. And I think what Alex is saying right there is right. You know, there's a lot of Gnostic stuff going on, especially with Zen Garcia, because he does get a lot of his teachings out of well, he was saying something about the Holy Spirit being Sophia or something like that, or a female Holy Spirit, and that's just not true, you know. And look, if God was a woman, I would accept that, right? Because I mean, hey, look, I, everyone's equal on this earth to me, right? And but it's not that way. It's just not true, right? I mean, God is a man. That's the way it is, right? Like, I can understand why some people might want it to be that way, but you know what? Like we have the way it is, and then we have the way we would do it, right? And so yeah, okay. If you're asking me, would I do it differently if I was God? Maybe. I don't know. Some rules make me uncomfortable, but you know what? I'm not God. I don't know everything, right? And every rule that's in there, right? Every commandment that's in the Bible is there for my benefit. It's not there just so God can wag a finger at me and say, don't do this, don't do that. Everything that He tells me to do benefits my life, you know? Whether I have a craving to do it or not, right? Something that's against, the will of God, right? You know, it doesn't mean that it's not there for me, right? And the whole thing is is about changing your heart to want to be right. We want to make God happy, you know, and we want to make Him happy because He's going to take us out of here, and He's going to fix what we did to this place. We did this. God can get rid of evil all in 1 second, 1 millisecond, but He'd have to get rid of us. And so the only way that he could take us out of here and not get rid of us, and get all the evil out of us is he had to absorb some of that sin and die, all of that sin and die. And so, this is where we're at. And so now that I know the truth about Jesus Christ, nothing's going to pull me off of Him. Um, Nothing's going to pull me off of Him. Not after the rabbit holes that I've been going down about which God was real. Trust me, I didn't want to really go down that rabbit hole, and every time something sounded compelling, it did make me feel uncomfortable, because there's a lot of things out there that do sound compelling against Jesus. So I could see how people could get confused, right? But when you reach the end of those rabbit holes, right, and you end up knowing that Jesus is the Lord and our Savior of our lives, that's a good feeling, because it could be worse, right? Now, if it turned out that Allah was the real God and all this stuff, right? Well, then I would just fall in line, right? I don't know if I'd be real happy about it, right? But I would do it, right? Because the best reason to believe in something is because it's real, you know? And so that's just the way it is. God is a man, right? That's the way it is. And uh, God is real. And that's a great thing, right? God's going to get us out of here. God's going to make us incorruptible. God's going to give us a life that we don't deserve, right? I mean, I'm thinking that's a pretty good deal. And that's a damn good reason to feel happy. I feel like I just won 20 different lotteries, a billion times in a row. And so I'm just waiting to cash my ticket in. And, I'm willing to do whatever God wants me to do on this earth. And I'm willing to be a martyr if that's what it takes. In fact, I would be grateful and glad to do it. And so, you know, I'm just saying that, you know, uh, I love God, and I love, I just want us to, and of course we're going to argue about little things, because that's exactly what Jesus does, right? He says He causes division, and that's good. That means because we're arguing, we want to find out the truth, and we all have our idea of what we think is right. And so I would just suggest that if you end up getting hot in here, getting mad in this chat, well, come back tomorrow and start fresh, because don't get mad and leave, because we're getting close to finding out everything that's real. We're getting close, you know. And so that's the way it is. Well, Jesus was definitely a man. But so anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. I'm going to say God bless you guys. This was I think, a good show. I don't know about you guys, I'm thinking it was pretty good. But um, not only do I love you guys, I mean, especially what the 10 or 11 in this chat, I'm in love with you guys, not in a weird way, but like as a group, right? You're my family, right? And, I would treat you like I would treat myself. We're getting close to the end, and, it's the moment of truth. We're going to have to pick a side what we're on, you know? And so I'll just say that I love you and you guys have a good day. Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Paula. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Rowan. Um, Everyone else is in here. JJ, I think, was in here. Paula, everybody, And so if I missed you, it's not because I don't love you, it's because I just forget. But anyway, so you guys be good, all right? And have a good day. All right. Thank you so much. God bless.